How are you? For those of you who are excited about the higher self, soul essence, retrieval, and embodiment process, I think you're going to be excited because today we're going to go into some messages around that. But I'm just going to kind of flow with it because I've actually received the guidance that this is such a big topic. It's going to be its own series of videos. Okay, loves? So, I'm excited to share that. But even as we're approaching the completion of this 22 days of inner union, we've already co-created a whole other new series around higher self and soul essence videos. So thank you for that. If you guys feel like you were a part of that, drop that in the comments. Let me know. I'm looking forward to that. I'm thinking that will start sometime in the new year. Obviously, in the meantime, I'm going to do some videos, but today, I'm just going to go into some cards to pull in direct messages around connecting with your higher self right here and right now, because I've been sensing that there are some people in need of some messages right now that are wanting to come through. So if you've been like praying and asking for some messages, your higher self may have brought you here today for this, loves. Okay. So I'm just going to start out and see where we go with this. Um, the higher self is obviously an exceedingly important part of inner union because it's your own higher guidance. And to me, trusting yourself, trusting your own guidance, trusting your own intuition above everything is so empowering and so key to your whole transformational embodiment process. So, although I'm here and I share messages and I share some of my process and perspective, one of the main core things you're always going to feel and sense from me is for you to trust your highest guidance above all else, okay? Because that's just what this whole process is really intended to be. And so I share one because, yes, I have some perspectives and experiences, and hopefully that can help you confirm things or affirm or validate things that you've been wondering about, or maybe inspire the process for you in a new way, just kind of open up new perspectives and thought processes, but also to inspire you to take those if they resonate and continue to build and grow upon those. Okay, make them your own, integrate them in your own way. And or even if there's something I say here that doesn't resonate, that's okay too. Take your truth and embody that and take that experience as an opportunity for you equally to build more trust with yourself. Okay, because that really is the most important piece, because sometimes there's messages that are being shared for someone else, or it's a perspective that I have that may not necessarily be necessary for you. That doesn't invalidate the other ones that did resonate. It just means you're discerning for yourself as you go along this process, and you're learning to trust and validate yourself above all else, which essentially is learning to embody your higher self. So, as I say that, in a sense, your higher self, your oversoul, has always been there with you. It's just when we incarnated on the planet, we were not taught about that or to develop that process or that connection. And we've also often felt the loss or the disconnection from that, which relates back to that core soul wound that I spoke about a few weeks ago. I'll drop that in the description box and comment for you guys if you didn't get to see that yet. But it's that truly at the energetic levels, your connection to your higher self and source has always been present. But when we're in our physical body and we're not developing that, or we're not taught about it, and or in a lot of cases, we're taught to ignore it and to override it, it can be a process to reconnect and re-establish that in a way, because you're learning about something that you were taught to suppress. But at the same time, it is you. So as you start to focus on it and pay attention to it and bring your intention and attention and focus to that process, it will strengthen. And really, it's just you remembering more and more of who you actually are. So what you'll find is it'll actually become easier and easier as you transmute and move through the old conditioning and programming and truly drop into and uncover your own authentic self in deeper ways. And like I said, this isn't to say that you haven't been authentic. It just means you were working with the parts of you that you had access to. Okay. And one of you wrote about wanting to know more about um, thawing out, or like the soul retrieval in the soul retrieval process. And there are like, I even offer sessions like that, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it, or you know that there's many people who can support you in that process if there's a part that you're not able to retrieve or thaw out on your own. But also, if you guys are ever here and you hear me talking about pockets of energy or triggers that come up, and as you're learning to process and work with those, and you're doing inner child work, or you're processing past emotions or past experiences, I want to acknowledge to you that that's actually a form of soul retrieval, in my opinion, because you're going and you're connecting with the part of yourself that may have been frozen or dissociated or disconnected or running or walling off. And when you are doing that and you're sitting with that part of yourself and giving it focus and attention, and you're thawing it out and you're learning to reparent those parts of yourself and you're learning to love yourself, you're doing your own soul retrieval work, which is very powerful and very beautiful. And when I talk about the pockets, the reason I came up with this pocket idea is because when I opened up, or a whole bunch opened up for me very quickly, it was overwhelming, as some of you may have experienced in your sort of dark night of the soul types of experiences. And there came a time where I had to kind of not wall it off, but put it in a container, like I spoke to you guys about a few videos ago. I can't remember which one, but putting the overwhelm in a treasure chest, not because you're avoiding it, but because you need the space to be able to process it in digestible chunks. So for me, when things come up, it's kind of like I'm going in, like the treasure chest opened and a pocket came out, and now I'm going to digest it and learn from it and grow from it and embody it. I found when I do digestible chunks, I can embody it easier, which when you're embodying the energy of the lessons that you're learning, that is actually part of higher self embodiment, because you're extracting the pieces of you and your soul essence, but you're also healing and unraveling and dissolving the pain and the suffering and the discomfort and the triggers. So the more of your energy and essence you are retrieving for yourself, the more you have available to support you in being present with whatever is happening in your life. Okay. So to me, in a sense, it's the more energy you can have of your own, the more of your life force and your soul essence you can have present with you in your physical body or in your aura, or that you're connected to, is in a sense accessing more and more of your higher self and your true power. Okay. And I just actually want to acknowledge that we have these separate terms of higher self and higher power and divine feminine and divine masculine, and those types of terms, because, well, they're all you in essence. But I think that we've found these terms, or we use them because they're helping us understand the parts of us that maybe have been frozen or walled off or dissociated, or that we weren't taught about. Okay. They all have always been you, but now you're learning to access and work with those in new ways. Okay. So it's a form of self-discovery. So all of those parts of you including your higher self, have always been a part of your soul. And now you're remembering to access it and use it and embody it into your body, building that trust with yourself through all of these processes. Okay. So I guess I didn't expect to talk so much about that, but hey, we're going with the flow and we're going to see what comes. Let's see what else wants to come through with this. Sky bridge possibility for union. Okay, I love that this card is coming up because on so many levels, like back in the day when I was first introduced to this idea of my higher self, it felt very, very far away for me, right? Like it felt like this whole other superwoman version of me that was like pie in the sky. But in a sense, when I started to envision that part of myself as kind of like a superhero or whatever have you, it helped me give it shape and a persona. And it was like this part of me that didn't have to be bogged down by all of the day to day stuff, but the part of me that could have that like eagle eye perspective and see things from new higher levels. Okay. So when I was first learning, I would just go into meditation or go like have guided meditations where it was just really inviting my higher self energy into my space or into a subconscious experience where I could really develop that connection and make it something like more tangible or closer to me where it didn't feel so far away. Okay. And I'm sharing that I work with it much different now. And I think that we have a lot more support and our higher self energy has a lot more access to us now than back when I was first learning. But I think that there may be value in learning about some of these ways because something might resonate with somebody in a new and a different way. So now some of the things that we have that we're able to do is really just calling in and intending to ask our higher self to guide us and calling in the energy and essence of that. So some of the ways I work with people with that is also I did a guided meditation on the channel a few days ago. I'll drop that in the comments as well. But what I do and what I intend when I work with people or when I bring in a meditation is that anyone who's ever going to participate or listen to that, their higher self is present while I'm creating the meditation, and all of the energy and the light codes and the light information or whatever activation they're needing or wanting is able to come through so that people are receiving the guidance that they're needing from their higher self guidance in a way that I'm able to help bring through. Somebody on the channel a couple of days ago spoke about being activated by Lemurian light language that they heard before. And it got me thinking that I realized that my meditations and guidance in that way are like kind of my form of light language that I share. And I'm sort of an interpreter, if you will. And I still obviously bring in the actual literal English language to support the light codes that are coming in. If you're interested in experiencing that, I'll drop that in the comments for you. But I'm always inviting, and my intention is always that your highest self is in control of whatever your experience is when you're with me, because that helps to facilitate and strengthen that connection with and for you. And your soul is in control ultimately at the end of the day. That's why I also trust if people are guided to work with me, it's because they can benefit from what I have to share. Okay. If you're guided to my videos, it's because there's something in it for you if it's resonating, right? Your higher self is guiding you to this so that you're getting those little puzzle pieces or confirmations that you've been asking for. Okay, loves, that's your higher guidance kind of bringing you along on your path as you're asking. So that's another thing that is exceedingly powerful. Setting your intention and asking for your higher self's guidance and allowing yourself the space to let it start to speak to you, to build that trust with it. So what's coming through is that you may sit with a notebook or a sketch pad and allow yourself to free write or allow yourself to doodle and draw and start to open up a pathway. It might feel weird at first, or you may not know if what you're getting is real. This is where you're also going to go into a time of uncensoring yourself, letting go of your judgments or thoughts around what you think it is or isn't, and starting to trust and allow the energies to flow through you in a way that you're not judging and that you're not censoring. Okay. Because even if they don't make sense in that exact moment, they're going to make more sense to you probably down the road. So that's where it can be really good to have that bridge of a notebook or a sketch pad that's just your free space, that you do not judge and that you don't have any expectations around other than you're just going to let yourself express freely whatever wants to come through. Okay. And you might just sit down and start doodling or just start writing random words or drawing symbols, just whatever wants to come through. Give yourself the space. If you sit with it and nothing is coming through, that's okay. Try it again another time. It's, you could just have the notebook and the pens or the pencils or the markers out in a place that's available, but just allow it to come natural. You can have that intention, and it may take some time before you're ready to actually sit with it and do it. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It means you're preparing and your higher self and you are working on the process. And when it's time to come to fruition in the physical world, it will. Okay. So again, we're going to bring in those ideas of space and grace and allowing yourself to build the bridge, the sky bridge to union with your higher self. So through these forms of opening up to uncensored communication directly with your own higher self, you are going to learn how to build trust with that. Okay. You could even do things like say, okay, higher self, this is how I'm going to know you're sending me messages. And you could come up with a symbol and then allow the universe or the world around you to start to speak to you. I did this exercise years and years and years ago when I first started. And the symbol that I chose for some reason was the rose. And this was back like 15 years ago. And roses did start to come up, but it was very fascinating that years later, like 10, 12 years later, through a series of events, the rose became a very, very significant symbol for me. And I was kind of blown away because I realized I had planted that seed for myself way back then. So actually also trust your human. It's building trust with your human self to trust your soul and that they're always in communication. Okay. And that this higher part of you is just not limited by our physical human vessel. Okay. So it has a lot more access to a lot more things, but you want to learn how to strengthen it in these ways so that you feel more comfortable working with it in the other dimensions or in other areas, because building trust with it in the physical world, in trusting yourself, this human physical world part of you, strengthening and building your trust with yourself, in uncensoring your intuition and starting to let that part of you speak to you, is where you're going to build the muscle. Okay. That is a key piece. If you're getting intuitions or you're getting experiences and you're not sure if they're real, just start to begin to allow yourself to trust those or to dance with those or to navigate with them. Okay. So if you have received something intuitive, then go ahead and move forward with that. If you know that it feels right to you, you do not have to keep asking other people. Just start to take the steps forward towards the guidance that you're being given. It might come in a different way than you think it's supposed to come. This is where you're building trust with yourself. That trust with yourself is a very, very, very key piece to this entire process of strengthening that muscle, okay? Because you can trust the higher power in God, and you could trust someone else or me or another person that you're talking to. And you might feel that, but if you're reaching a point where things are not flowing, even though you're receiving messages and support from other people, that is because you're being called to trust yourself, loves. You're being called to actually honor the intuition you're being given and start to take steps towards that. Okay. If you're guided to do something, then allow yourself to do it. Take whatever steps are in front of you. Maybe stop asking other people for their guidance and start moving into trusting those parts for yourself. Those steps as you move forward may lead you to connecting with someone new and asking new questions or finding new videos. But if you've reached a point where you feel like you're kind of stuck and other people aren't helping you find the answer that you're looking for, it's because you're being called to trust yourself. Okay, so take it back to the part where you felt that initial feeling, that initial intuition of what you felt like you were supposed to do. Show up for yourself in that space, even if no one else is validating it for you. This is where you're being called to move into those next steps and stages and layers of that trust. It's like what they're showing me is like that trust fall. Okay. It's where you felt maybe you couldn't trust other people or where other people didn't show up for you. It's the time that you're being called to show up for yourself, to trust yourself, to trust your own inner guidance, loves. Okay. I do feel like I want to get one more. And I think that that sky bridge, that last message, that last part was for a few of you specifically. So hopefully that was helpful. I think that that might have been a part of some of the messages that wanted to come through right now, directly for somebody who's going through something right now. Okay, so we have the possibility for new beginnings, okay? And this feels like, you see how this, what's coming through is something different than maybe what the cards were intended to mean. You see how this felt kind of far away? Like how I was saying, the higher self for me at first felt really far away. And like this superwoman version of me that how was I ever going to become that? But what's happening is we learn to build this trust with ourselves. And we learn to trust our intuition and we start to take actions based on those intuitions. It's we're pulling our higher self closer and closer and closer. Okay. And what that does is it allows us to start to receive the messages and the energies and the light codes much more fluently and congruently as we're building this muscle. So you could, this is actually a perfect visual that you can envision your higher self also, when I talked about the light codes, as like that beautiful giant sun that I actually spoke about in the meditation. And even if it feels far away, you just let yourself connect to it and allow the light from the sun to pour down all around you. And as you feel more comfortable, you can ask the sun and the essence and the energy of your higher self to come closer and closer and closer to your body. Okay. Inviting it into your actual physical space. And even as you're ready, inviting it to start to integrate with your body and with your cells, which is a lot of what I do with people in sessions, in my meditations, in my groups, because like I told you, this is a key piece to inner union, transformation, embodiment, trusting yourself, allowing yourself to receive more and more of these energies and essences that have always been you. Okay, loves? All right. This is kind of a big topic. So I'm going to leave it there. And like I said, I'm excited that we're going to be doing a series around the higher self and higher essence and soul essence, because Wow, it's a very big topic, and I hope that at least these small messages that I brought through today just to get us started are helpful for you. And if you have anything more specific around this that you're thinking of, or if something within this brought something up and you want more clarity, you can go ahead and drop that in the comments. All right, loves, I'm looking forward to seeing you for day 21. I know I didn't even say today we made it to day 20 of inner union. All right, loves, you take care and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.